first days of being a briefer, using a script helps you keep on time, helps you prevent yourself from getting off track, which I have a tendency to do. I'll try to keep it short though, and that's the main purpose of having the scripted remarks. I don't want to keep anybody from starting their 3-day weekend. That's an important part. First, I want to thank General Nicholas for being the presiding official today. It was a really good event. Thank you, sir. You know, General Nicholas has made it his mission that partner engagement, not only in partner engagement, but also at ODNI, to take care of the military folks there in our civilian organization. Sometimes we're scattered around and you can kind of lose your sense of identity. But you don't have that formal command mechanism that you have in a military organization. So through mentoring and communicating and building this sense of camaraderie through events like this, these military traditions and ceremonies, it really helps bring a sense of identity and family to the military folks. We love where we are, we're happy to be what we're doing, but we're also military folks and we don't want to forget where we came from. So thank you, sir. I really appreciate you doing that. Also, a big thanks goes out to retired Sergeant First Class, Tammy Padilla, for her beautiful rendition of the national anthem. Tammy was one of the inspirations for having the ceremony here at this venue. She had retired here and she highly recommended it. And I recommend it to anybody who wants to retire. So it's a good place. Chaplain Scott Kenna, thank you very much for giving the invocation. I really appreciate it. Scott is an Eagle Scout, I found out this past weekend, and he has been an inspiration not only to me, but also to other young scouts like my son David. So thank you, Scott. Really appreciate it. Big shout out of thanks to Bart. Alan Bartolome, poor guy. He comes in as the second Air Force officer in the office, so, you know, of course, he gets tagged with all the stuff I don't want to do. And he has, this is his second retirement ceremony, organizing it, and he's done a wonderful job. And as a result of being able to herd cats, he'll probably get tagged to do this over and over again. And so, congratulations, Bart. You have got a new title. Also, I want to thank Laura for agreeing or being voluntold to be MC today. She is coming in to replace me in my job, but luckily we were friends and neighbors before that. And so we've had a really good, close working relationship. She's going to have to develop her own style and form her own reputation at ODNI. She cannot have the title Ninja Mom because that's already taken. So thanks, Laura. I really appreciate it. And also I want to thank the rest of my office. Every single person in my office has chipped in. So Kirk Lee is our photographer, Joe Moffitt's our audio-visual guy, so Navy, Marine Corps, and even Warren from the Coast Guard is being part of our ceremony as the official presenter. And they're all kicking in because that's what families do. And that's going to be kind of a theme throughout my remarks today, is about family. Because the whole reason I'm here and the whole reason I'm retiring is for my family. And they've been my focus throughout, but the definition of family has changed. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how it's changed. When I first joined the Air Force at 18 years old, leaving home to go off to the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, you know, it all sounded so great and glamorous until I got on that airplane and realized that I was leaving everybody who knew me and everybody who I loved. And that was really, really hard. But I got to the Air Force Academy, met my roommates, and started meeting other people, and I found a new family. It wasn't quite the same. It's still as strict as the old family, but it was a new family. And from there, things have developed a network that's just stretched out wider and wider. And now I'm proud to say that I'm part of a joint family with friends that I'm close to in every branch of the military. Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and yes, even worn in the Coast Guard. Over the past couple of assignments, my family has grown to encompass not only the military, but also civilian organizations and lots of intelligence professionals that have helped mentor me and taught me a lot and have made me realize that the caring and devotion and patriotism that I had associated with the military is not just the military. There are so many professionals and so many civilians out there that are fantastic examples that, you know, I wish I could be like every one of you. As General Nicholas mentioned, I grew up in a military family, and my dad was in the B-52 and based at Loring Air Force Base in Maine, northern Maine, when he met my mom, a Canadian from across the border. And I don't know if she quite knew what she was getting into when she married this flyboy, but she would probably have a lot in common with the military spouses of today whose families are deployed. Whose military members are deployed. Because Mom pretty much, you know, raised us. It was 3 kids at the time, Virginia, sorry. You came along a little late. And she raised us on her own pretty much when Dad was deployed for Vietnam. But she was one of the nicest people I've ever known, but she also told me that being nice doesn't mean you're not tough. You can be both, and that's where I learned it from. And if it hadn't been for her, I would never have gotten into the Air Force Academy. So I know she's looking down from heaven right now, and she's probably saying, I knew you could do it all the time. And my dad, who passed away last year, I know he's probably looking down and saying, you're damn right she could. So I'm here because of them, and I wish they could be here to see this day, but I know they are. They're looking from a different perspective, though. And that term family, again, took on a different perspective when I married Bill. All of a sudden it became a Texas, Mexico, you know, and it's this whole different thing. You know, I'm from Cleveland, and we're not usually as demonstrative as folks down in Texas, or as big, or as bold, and as welcoming and loving, and I can't imagine having another family. I love being a Meskill. I love being part of the Texas Meskills, and we will always be Texans, regardless of where we are. And I have to apologize to Granddad for taking Bill away. When I did take him out of Texas, I promised that I would return him. And we aren't quite doing that yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there at some point. Let's see, part of this nice, strong women theme that I mentioned before was my mother-in-law, Frances. Frances and I went to the same school at the same time down in Texas. I was working on my master's at the University of Texas, and she was getting her PhD. And so I don't know that too many people can say they went to school with their mother-in-law and enjoyed it. But I really did. We miss her greatly, and I wish she could be here as well, because, again, she was an inspiration. But Granddad's here, and he's representing the whole Meskill clan. And so if you get an opportunity, I really would like you to stop by and see a wonderful man who served his entire life in support of the United States government as well. And he has done an awesome job of raising a wonderful son, and another other son and daughter too. But I think I picked the best one of the bunch. And I've had a very long and rewarding career. Here in Virginia, I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be here for quite a while. And here in Virginia, I have yet another family. The Kuntz family has become part of every holiday, every birthday that we've celebrated on both sides. We go to soccer games together, and basketball games together, and volleyball games together, and track meets together, and Lake Braddock events, and White Oaks events, and really, Wendy and Carl and Keenan, thank you so much for being here. You are a part of my family, so I'm very grateful that you're here. And another group of very inspirational women that I have had the fortune of being a monthly part of is my Bunko Babes group. The Bunko Babes group. Stand up. Stand up. Yay! by getting together and being able to talk about the things that are bothering us, that are inspiring us, that we can talk about our husbands, our kids, our schools, the teachers, everything. And they really, really made the past 7 years very rewarding. I really appreciate it. And speaking of rewarding, as I mentioned, I've been blessed to be in the Air Force this long, and also to have been here in DC this long. But I'm also blessed to have been able to serve with each and every one of the folks in this room. And I wish I could go and individually say something to you about how you've affected me, how you've made my service better, and how my life has been better because of you. But it is before a 3-day weekend, and I know I won't be able to do that. So from the very beginning, my first assignment with Ian and Barry, who are there, to all the assignments in between until now, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for being a part of my life and for being here today. And I forgot to mention, my cousin's in the back. She's been here since the very beginning, too. She and I are the same age, and she drove over from close to Annapolis to be here today, so I really appreciate it. Thank you, Janet and Patrick. So, before I go, and because I'm not going to go individually and thank you each for what you've done, I do have to recognize the people in the first and part of the second row here. Because they are the ones who are going to have to live with me after this ceremony. You guys can get rid of me, say, okay, you're going to retire, but they're not going to be able to forget. So first, to my husband, Bill. I promised when I joined the Air Force that I would never, ever call you the wind beneath my wings. So I've decided to call you instead the driver of my Mustang. I love you and the family that we've created above all else. And I don't say that often enough, and I definitely don't say it publicly. I always was able to use the PDA excuse not to do things. So now that's going to change.
We've never kissed while
So I am looking forward to spending more time with you during retirement. So I figured I'd give you a small gift. It's the orange envelope there. And we'll start with a Segway tour of DC. So maybe we'll go and do that the same night that we go and have dinner. To my sons, David and Mark, I'm hoping that you'll remember this day and think about how rewarding it is to be part of something that's larger than yourself. I love you both, and I'm very, very proud of what wonderful young men you are. They've really pitched in and helped me out this week. I've gotten more hugs this week, and I needed them, than I have in a long time. So thank you. You're awesome. To Granddad, thank you for accepting me into your family and treating me as one of your own. I have indeed become a daughter to Granddad Meskill, and I cherish that position. I'm very fortunate. To my brother Reynold and my sister Virginia, I also want to thank you both for being so supportive. They've made it to my last 2 promotion ceremonies as well as to this. They've gone out of their way. They have not, done the military route, which is fine. That's okay. But they put up with a lot of me and my control freakiness, and I really appreciate it. They've been very supportive. To Lynn, Annabelle, Katie, and Elizabeth, you are all very special to me. I don't have any daughters of my own, but I really wish that if I did, they'd be exactly like you. You're very talented and sweet, and I really appreciate you coming in. And I hope you're inspired by being at the Women in Military Service Memorial. Thank you for sticking by me through thick and thin, and for being there whenever I've needed to vent. Teresa is my weekly phone call, and believe it or not, she has made a weekly phone call from me, or to me, or from me, since I left Ohio on the 5th of July,